While the ladies have a pageant that mocks, with tales and dresses meant to shock, Trisha and the boys are beginning their lists of admired women. So here's hoping everyone packed enough socks.
That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Friday, and we are once again hanging out at the Produce Stand, a podcast paying tribute to the great Canadian show, Letterkenny. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other podcasts about Letterkenny out there, but this one appreciates our female listeners. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room, as always, is the lovely Tanya, and online we have Squirrely Matt, the valiant Victor, and let me get and joining us this week, they are fellow FOTMs. She is a biochemist. He's a web designer. They're in Toronto, and it is way past their bedtime. Please join me in making some noise for Miriam and Juan.
Wondrous. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wait. Oh my god.
I regret nothing.
Welcome to the Produce Stand. Finally, Miriam and Juan. How you guys doing tonight?
Tired.
Oh, don't start, Juan. Come on. I got money that says that Juan won't make it to the end of this episode. He's going to get up and go to bed.
Hey, if we make it to the end of the episode with Riley and Jonesy here, we're good, right?
All right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the Produce Stand version of Riley and Jonesy. They're one person. Now, you guys aren't new to us. You've been on many ag call socials and stuff. So we will treat you like regular panelists. So tonight's lineup, 1 second here. It's been so long here.
It really feels like it.
It does.
How are you now?
Tonight's lineup is going to be Al, Victor, Tanya, Matt, and Miriam, and Juan. Our guests will have the final word. So my week, I just got back from Vancouver yesterday. I spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Vancouver recording interviews for my work podcast. Yes, we are open. And we have no what? Oh no, that's okay. I just got derailed. Anyway, that's okay. Boy, are my arms tired. It was a great time in Vancouver. I'd never been there before. What a really nice city, and the weather was amazing. I didn't get any rain, which I've been told is kind of rare, especially around this time of year. Really interesting thing though, when I was there, because there's no secret, there's a lot of big Asian population in Vancouver. I had a friend who was taking me around, showing me around, and he. I went to hang out at his condo, and he lives in this condo complex. It's got where they have plans for 13 towers, but in his building's 35 stories tall. And as we're going up to his floor, he points at the button console in the elevator and says, "Do you see anything weird here?" I'm like, "I'm not sure what you're talking about." There's no number 4 anywhere to be seen. You know how, in Toronto and most, I think, major kind of North American cities, at least, they skip the 13th floor, right? Well, in many Asian cultures, I guess, the number 4 is very, very unlucky. And as a result, there's no 4th floor, but there's also no 14th floor, no 24th floor, nothing with the number 4 in it, to the point where, Victor's showing a blue spatula. What am I saying that's wrong?
Those floors are still there.
No, I know.
Doesn't matter what you want to call them. They're still there.
I get it. But if they had them, those floors would not sell. He actually, his condo unit actually it's a 4-digit, 30, blah, 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 had the 4 in it. And he said it was only available because his unit had the number 4 in it, and they couldn't sell it to anybody. So
I always like to believe that there actually is those extra floors.
No,
and
not
they're
in this
just
case.
They're just smaller to not use up too much hardware.
And also
they just skip them. The elevator just skips them.
No, it's not. And also he was saying, so the plan for his complex is there's supposed to be 12 towers. And he said the next tower to be built is tower number 5. And I'm like, well, there's 3 already. So when are they building 4? And he's like, oh, I guess 5 is 4 because they're not calling it tower number 4. Like that is how seriously they take it over there. It's ridiculous.
So my question, and hopefully somebody can answer this. I want to know if somebody's born on the 4th or the 14th or the 24th. They
throw the baby away with this.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Like, do they not celebrate that day? Do they make it another day, or like, do they falsify the records?
I don't know, but
I want to know that.
Yeah, like all of their April babies, like they're
right, April. So, that's the 4th.
Yeah.
4th month. Maybe it's not the 4th.
They probably just write April.
Maybe.
Or whatever.
Or maybe they just make it the 5th month.
Anyway, I found it interesting. And just because
I want to know
the city of Vancouver has such a heavy Asian population, this is actually something that they really care about. And my friend who isn't, they're not Asian. He said it worked out for us because we were able to get this unit for pretty cheap, or relatively speaking, because they weren't able to sell it. They weren't able to sell it,
and that they're buying a house, and they have to make sure that the house that they buy doesn't have a 4 in it, just for the resale value.
Yeah, and they're afraid if they buy something that kind of breaks that rule or that superstition, they may not be able to resell it, or at least they might resell it, but just not for the same amount of money. Anyway, I found it really interesting.
Fascinating.
It was very fascinating. I had a great trip out there, but I'm happy to be back.
I have a question. Sorry, follow up. So in Toronto, are there 13th floors?
No, they skipped 13. No. But again,
so just the same. So we're just as weird.
That's one floor in every building. This is multiple floors and multiple units in
I want to know,
like throughout the city where the number 4.
Okay. Here's my next question. So just like in the Portuguese alphabet, there are missing letters. Well, not missing. They're just, they don't exist.
Correct.
So maybe the 4 doesn't exist. Maybe that's the reason.
No, it exists. It exists, but it's just that.
Maybe it is 3-5.
It's cursed.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's math. There's got to be a 4. Like to Victor's point, there's a 4th spot in numbers.
Maybe there's not.
Of course there is. You may not call it 4, but there's a 4th spot.
It's worth a Google.
Anyway.
They've been miscalculating things for years.
Yeah. Next, Victor, how was your week? He's shaking his head.
I'm disappointed in humanity. And especially with a biochemist here, it's ridiculous. By the way,
I agree with it, Victor.
No, she doesn't agree. Why would she agree?
By the way, you'll be happy to know that for the longest time, carbon was my son's favorite element, but then he switched to boron, and he's never looked back. But anyway,
I need a blue spatula. Give me a blue spatula.
It's relatable.
Only Victor
is it?
would raise a child who has a favorite element. I mean, I guess mine is gold, but other than that,
well,
is diamond an element?
It's one of the more useless metals, though rutherfordium did find it useful. But anyway,
You're killing Miriam with this with the chemistry jokes, but no one else.
Yes. and I apologize to all those science enthusiasts. I meant Rutherford, not Rutherfordium, which was named after Rutherford.
Okay, move on, please.
Let's move on. So I've had a really busy week because I've been planning my trip to Vancouver.
All right.
Yeah. So, and what we're doing is we're going to go to Vancouver, and then we're going to take the Rocky Mountaineer from Vancouver to Banff. So it's going to take us through the magical Rocky Mountains, the Canadian Rockies.
This is you and Linda. You and Linda are doing this?
Just yeah. And it's like just for us. So we're it's going to be kind of one of those trips of a lifetime kind of thing where it's going to be all premium all the way. So
nice. Tanya's parents just did that trip, right?
No, they went across Canada.
I know, but once they got the train that they went from Alberta,
then they went on plane, train, automobile.
Well, they didn't cross the Rockies on train.
No.
Oh, I thought.
You do it kind of through the when you take the regular Canadian, it's called the Canadian, the Via train. It goes kind of past the Rockies, but the Rocky Mountaineer goes into the Rockies and does all the winding through the rivers and through them. Yeah, and it goes up, I think, 5,000 feet into the mountain. So it's pretty, and then it takes you past Lake Louise and all kinds of stuff. So. And I think it can either land in Banff or Jasper, and we're taking Banff because
Well, let me tell you, I went for a drive through West Vancouver. I was kind of trying to find Ryan Reynolds' house. The fucking mansions up there, holy crap, and built on the side of the mountains. Basically, they were impressive, but couldn't find Ryan. He was nowhere to be seen.
He's in the fourth mansion. But,
Number 4 on 4th Avenue.
Good deal on it.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. Dan, how was your week?
Oh, is it me?
Yeah.
So Al was gone. So
great, eh?
So her week was exactly opposite to mine.
Busy. You know what? I'm just grateful that my medication was done as of this morning. This silly infection that I got on my skin has finally cleared up. So I'm just grateful that I can have wine time soon. And
but not tonight, I see.
But not tonight. I'm having tea time still. So yeah, I've just been exhausted trying to recover from this. And yeah, so looking forward to, we're getting some great weather in the forecast coming up. And I'm really looking forward to feeling some warm air and having some sun on my face and just like going outside. I just really can't wait for that. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. All right, Matt. So tonight you're pulling an awesome. If Matt sounds a little more distant, it's because he's actually in his car right now.
How many layers do you have on, dude? Like it looks like you have like 5 coats.
Oh, I've got a t-shirt and I got my sweater, which is referred to as my old man sweater, and I love it. And then I've got my winter coat on, and I've also got like big old winter snow boots on as well to keep the legs warm. So that's helping. Yeah,
you're dedicated, man.
I'm up. I didn't want to miss it, and it was partially my fault and bad planning because I wasn't paying attention to the rescheduling of this week. So I agreed to other plans, and then I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. And I didn't want to miss the show and miss a chance to hang out with Juan and Miriam. So I'm making it work, right? So it's kind of funny. And I know Miriam already called it out that I'm probably technically illegal right now as I'm drinking in the front seat of the car.
Oh, my God. I didn't see the car.
Oh, look, you're like, what's his name from the Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah, Julian.
Julian. No, not Julian. Yeah,
Rick or Julian.
This is a new level, dude.
Though. I'm sitting in the passenger seat, so I'm not. I pulled the keys out of the ignition. I've got that.
Oh, well,
I'm
that's
technically
good.
parked in a driveway. I have an extension cord coming from the house to the car. So I figured the worst case, if someone did come up or say the police rolled up, I would just welcome him into the show. Like, how phenomenal. Can you think of what great podcasting that would be if a cop rolled up and I just put him on speaker?
And I'm just waiting
for Bubbles to show up.
That'd be amazing.
I'd be doing the play-by-play. And now Matt's being cuffed and dragged away.
Right? It would be amazing. That's an award nominee right there, live.
Mr. Leahy. I think I see him around the corner.
You haven't mentioned why you're in a car and not in your usual spot.
Oh, well, I'm just up visiting family up in Collingwood.
Oh, there you go. You're in Collingwood.
Yeah, there's no real big. I mean, it's my mother-in-law's birthday tomorrow, so we came up here. And the house, it's not like it's a small house, but it's very echoey.
Sure.
And we're all spread out. So my little guy's sleeping in the basement. The Jen and her mom are hanging out in the living room. Her dad's sleeping in his room, and it's a big echoey house. So there really is nowhere for me to be. So I parked the car as close as I could to the house to make sure I still get the Wi-Fi, and we're making it work from here. So,
what do your in-laws think of you? I want to interview them next.
Can you invite them on right now?
Can you just bring them into the car?
My mother-in-law gets a kick. She always laughs. She's like, "So what is this again that you're doing? Podcasting? Is this still Letterkenny?" I'm like, "Yeah." We tried to get her to watch it one time, but they didn't fall in love with it. So. I think it was a very Shoresy heavy episode we got them to watch. That turned them off a bit. And then I thought about letting them watch this week's episode, but then realized it probably was going to go even worse.
Yeah.
You think?
It depends on whether you want them to like you and respect you or
and
not.
if you want to have that conversation on what a mid is.
Yeah, well, we're pretty censor-free.
That was the most painful part of the episode.
No, my in-laws are cool though. Like I get high with my mother-in-law and like they're very cool. very bored, modern, whatever. And no cares given. So we have a good time. But yeah, no, it would have been funny. I think it's just the Shoresy took it a little too far for them.
Sure.
But no, aside from that, week's been fine. I know, sorry, I went off there a bit, but
it's all right.
I will tell one quick story because I know I'm rambling on. I had a really funny moment this week where we were cleaning our house. My brother's coming next week. I haven't seen him since before the pandemic, so we're cleaning up the house. And Jen was vacuuming and dusting our room, and we got a TV with a Fire Stick connected to it.
Right.
And she somehow knocked something over, and the wire and the Fire Stick fell. And I quickly glanced at where the hell did the damn stick go? And I was so not mad. I was just frustrated. I'm like, how do you lose this thing? Like, it's connected to the TV, and we're tearing apart that room. We're opening drawers. I'm emptying garbage cans. I'm like, did you throw it out? Like, where the hell is this damn thing? For 2 days, we're looking for it. To the point that she's like, all right, well, we need to order a new one now. Start going to see if they're on sale. And I'm literally going through Amazon, checking out to see if there's a sale. And I go, let me just go back and double check. And I kid you not, this is a real bonehead move. The thing was still attached to the TV. Like, the wire had come out, the micro USB, right, but the actual Fire Stick was still wedged in. But I forgot the ports really high on the back of the TV. So the way I turned my head around to glance at the back and all the ports, I didn't look high enough. And I just I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
and,
there's no good way to sugarcoat this, Matt. You just had a senior moment.
No.
Yeah.
I did. I had a really bad.
You're the guy. You're the guy that calls into support and they say, "Is it plugged in?"
Yeah,
you're that guy.
100%.
You're the reason for that question.
Well, I mean, I look at it.
Of course, it's. Oh God, no, it isn't.
So, what do you think? I'm an idiot? Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So, anyways, I found the Fire Stick. We're good.
That's awesome.
The Fire Stick was never lost.
It was never lost.
You found it. It was there.
It felt lost.
It's like looking for your glasses when they're on your head.
That's only happened twice.
Yeah. Today. Anyway, Miriam, Juan, how are you guys doing?
Good. You?
Not bad. So how's your week been?
You start.
Oh, same as every week.
Every week?
At home.
At home?
Yeah, I'm still working from home, and Miriam is the one that has come back to in person.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just me and the cat now.
Well, I mean, it's nice and quiet for you. Miriam, how's going into work been?
It's been interesting. One of my courses is a second-year course, and they've not been on campus because they started in the pandemic.
Right.
So you have a whole bunch of students completely lost downtown Toronto, trying to figure out like what room, what door, what's open. And the students are not very good this year.
Everything they should have been doing last September, they're doing now. Like looking around, trying to get their bearings and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Wow. So, are they just as angry for being at school, or are they happy to be back?
They're happy to be back.
Yeah,
they're happy, but then you still are the excuses. So it's like you guys want to be back, but you still have all these excuses why you can't hand in things. Oh, the train. Oh, every excuse hasn't changed.
How do you do chemistry remotely? Do you mail them the chemicals and just sit at home?
No. I don't think that's okay, Al.
No, that's not okay.
I was going to say there's a house around the corner that
I think so.
That kind of blew up because of that.
Well, we actually developed AR labs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
A year ago. So we actually, that was one of the big pushes that we did. Mm-hmm. And we focused more on data and how to write it up.
That had to have been disappointing for some students though, right? Because this isn't what I was signing up for kind of thing,
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But now for the most part, they're happy to be back.
Yeah.
And hopefully with the mask, we're keeping the mask until the end, I think, of the exam period.
Okay.
So that's kind of good. So
is that May? When's exam period?
End of April.
End of April. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Victor's holding up a tiny vial of something. I'm afraid to ask why.
Yeah. Speaking of chemicals, you're not allowed to mail.
God.
Do you want to show us this?
Dude, this is live, right?
Yeah,
not live.
We're recording this.
Recording. Do we have to cut and paste?
Anyway, it's a vial of mercury.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That'll give you brain damage, won't it? If you
Mad Hatter.
Makes you a little crazy.
And what's neat? What's really, really neat? So I keep these vials in kind of these kind of plastic containers, right? So you can see that this one's clear, and this one here. And let's see if Miriam can guess what this one is.
Oh my gosh!
Based on the color,
it's red, Miriam.
So this is supposed to be. This used to be white, clear, just like this one was. But this one has now turned this color.
Iodine.
Yes.
See?
Correct. Iodine.
Oh, you passed.
You can't stump the chemistry teacher.
No, I have really good eyes. I saw the eye.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, here are the little.
You shouldn't have admitted that. You was way more.
Come on, we were very impressed with you. You didn't have to.
Anyway, I've got I think about 60 of the elements from the table.
Why?
What's that?
Why?
It goes with his train set, Miriam.
No, he's a fan.
I didn't think he moves his product.
Here's sulfur.
Why?
Victor is an enthusiast.
Coming from the biochemist.
Yeah. Miriam's just shaking her head. I'm like, I don't even have that shit in my house.
Come on, you have that.
It's under the sink. Phosphorus is pretty cool. That's quite flammable, but it's
he's got stuff in his house that'll give him brain damage, burn his house down, but treat his wounds. So that's good. The iodine.
Yes.
You are just layers upon layers upon layers.
I gotta say,
now the nice thing about potassium is you can cut it with a butter knife, and it's very, very cool.
Okay.
But anyway, sorry.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the sponsor, shall we?
Just like Skodude Energy Drink, Diabolical Coffee has a new spokesperson, me. Diabolical Coffee is devilishly good coffee and diabolically awesome swag. There is a roast for all tastes and even some you didn't know you wanted. You can order whole bean, coarse, and standard grind, and espresso. Or if you're like Al and me, there's a K-Cup option for single cup brewers. And for the duration of season 10 of our podcast, you can use the promo code PRODUCESTAND for 10% off anything in the store. That's 10% off all coffee and merch. Thank you to Diabolical Coffee and to Eric for your support.
Yes, thank you, Eric. And speaking of support, welcome to new Twitter followers: Blair from Louisville, Kentucky, Jennifer from the South, Stephen, Daniel Hawkins, Gary Lancaster from Denver, Miss L90210, Ryan Matson from Alberta, Josh from United States, Tim Carter from Downey, California, Michael Blake Beeson from Appalachianistan, Tom Callahan, Bill, Kyle, Patrick Montanese, Skyshoe from India. I don't know what that Indiana, California. Josh Karras from Wellington, Florida, Mike Smith, Jason Kaiser from National Park, New Jersey, Jeremy Rader, Brendan from Wisconsin, Jared Davis from Ohio, Derek Burnt, Jason Foreman, Gravel Tongue, Michael Seigel, Rocker Chick 69, Brondo, the Thirst Mutilator from Arizona, Beaver Source Rex, Ben, Sarah Sadler, Cassie Price from Standpoint, Idaho, Todd Asana from Fort Worth, Texas. I just lost my spot. Oh yeah, Mike the Bad from Kawartha Lakes, Ontario. Jim Meisner from USA. A Lady with No Filter from Dirty Jersey. Seeker Silencio from Oklahoma. Soy Boy Beta with a neckbeard. LB. Dan Gregory from Temecula. After Hours Sessions podcast. Nadia Ibarola from Raleigh. Cecil Searcy from Kansas City, Missouri. PJ Predholm. Juan A. Campos from Imperial, California, Suave Jones from Spokane Valley, Washington, Chew from Asheville, North Carolina, Wheel of Horror podcast from Connecticut, Apartment 303 from Greendale, Colorado, Earth Medicine from Canada, and Chris Cadillac. Thank you for following and hopefully for listening.
Previously on Letterkenny.
Last week, we celebrated our 100th episode with a bunch of beautiful listeners, including Juan and Miriam. We had an amazing time. This week, we review and recap Letterkenny International Women's Day special with our friends Miriam and Juan. Have you done your homework? I have. Victor, how about you? Tanya, have you?
Once.
Matt?
Damn it, yes.
And Miriam?
Damn it, yes.
And Miriam and Juan, have you done your homework?
Yep, twice.
Excellent. So we open, no cold open in this one. We go right into the action. We open with Tanis on a stage somewhere, perhaps the Ag Hall. Gail comes up to her and wishes her a happy International Women's Day. Gail asks Tanis if she's still with the Bro Dude rep. Tanis says it's the best she's ever been Spider-Man'd in her life. Just then, the Bro Dude rep enters stage right to introduce the episode.
Bro Dude is proud to welcome you to the first ever anti-beauty pageant where one of you broads will be crowned Miss Universe.
Thought we were going with Miss Modiniality.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. It appears you fucked my brains out. Bro Dude is pleased to welcome you to the first ever Miss Modiniality pageant. The contest meant to empower women by having you do the exact opposite of what you'd be asked to do in a traditional beauty pageant. The winner will be crowned upon completion and awarded a personalized video greeting from Serena Williams, a Twitter shout out from Jennifer Lopez, and a year's supply of Bro Dude energy. No. Okay, and an autographed headshot of Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And now I'd like to hand it over to this afternoon's host, Bonnie McMurray.
Oh, Bonnie McMurray.
Bonnie introduces the judges for the pageant. First up, a gal who knows what she wants, gets what she wants, and flaunts what she got. That's Katie. The next judge is the woman who tamed the toughest broad on the res, but Bonnie doesn't know the Bro Dude rep's name. She turns to Tanis, but Tanis doesn't know her name either. Bonnie finally asks the Bro Dude rep, who introduces herself as Emma. And finally, the third judge is the gal who tamed the toughest dude in Letterkenny, Rosie. Bonnie goes on to lay out the rules for the competition. The contestants are going to compete in 3 different categories: least congenial thing you've ever done, filthiest mouth, and tackiest dress. The contestants are introduced, starting with Marianne and Lucianne. Katie asks where Betty Ann is. Marianne says she's playing ball, which is hilarious because Kelly McCormack, the actress who plays Betty Ann, is also on the TV series A League of Their Own, which, just like the movie, it's about a all-ladies a baseball team. So chances are the reason she wasn't available for Letterkenny was she was shooting A League of Their Own. So hence she's out playing ball is what Marianne said she was doing. Marianne reassures everyone, though, including the viewers, that Betty Ann will be back. But Lucianne's played by Elise Bauman. She's a Canadian actor, producer known for a movie called Bite and Smile. She's been on Working Mom. She's been on Good Witch and Handmaid's Tale. And also competing is our Tanis, Mia Sophia, Mrs. McMurray, and Gail. So the next scene, we have Wayne, Derry, and McMurray, and they're sitting at Modine's 3, waiting on Squirrely Dan to play some cribbage. Squirrely Dan got held up at his women's study class, and Dickens walks in, followed by Riley and Jonesy. Stuart and Rolled. Derry asks what everyone's doing there, and Squirrely Dan walks in very excitedly. He's invited all the guys because Professor Tricia has agreed to speak with him for International Women's Day. Dickens doesn't think this is the kind of thing Riley and Jonesy would get behind.
Buddy, we get behind just about anything.
Yeah, they'd grab a monkey by the tit if they could.
But we Googled Professor Tricia and you yawn.
So just then we hear the doorbell ring, and Squirrely Dan introduces Professor Tricia. And Professor Tricia, played by Nazanin Contractor, a Canadian actress known for Star Trek Into Darkness, Heroes Reborn, and most recently she's on the Children Ruin Everything show. Victor, you've been watching that. So did you recognize her?
Yeah, I did, but I gave up on the show. I couldn't stick with it. We gave it a few episodes, and then we said, it doesn't have staying power.
Yeah, I saw the first episode, and I'm like, I don't. Miriam, you're shaking your head too. Have you?
We did 1 episode, and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It might be a grower, but yeah, for now,
it's not a grower.
No. All right. Professor Tricia slow-mo walks in wearing a business attire and carrying a briefcase. All the guys are taken by her look. The slow motion moment is broken when she speaks.
Found this in the parking lot? Who carries a briefcase? I mean, what is this, the CIA? If it is, you got to tell me, otherwise it's entrapment. I don't know, I don't hate it. I really have to pee.
Next scene. Back at the pageant, it's time for event number 1, least congenial thing you've ever done. The judges want the contestants to bare their souls, give us their worst, and then double it. They're all ladies there. They've all been through it. Whoever can make the judges dry heave first will win it. The name of the game isn't one-upmanship, it's up-womanship. So first blood goes to Marianne.
First blood, eh, Bonnie? Reminds me of that time all our periods synced up in 07, and the grocery store couldn't keep up with demand. I decided to stuff a sock down there to keep her sanitary, but stole a pair of children's socks from the donation bin at the Sally Ann, so I wouldn't have to use my own.
I still use socks, Marianne. Wool socks for my heavy flow, sockettes for my lighter days.
I just sat on a bale of hay for 3 days and said I was sunbathing.
As the competition continues, Tanis talks about the first time she got kicked out of Canada's Wonderland for taking a header into an in-use baby changer. Mia Sophia took a dump in a Tupperware during a long car ride to the Sioux. Mrs. McMurray told her story of her first, but not her last, Alaskan pipeline. I won't go into details. You just have to watch the episode. Moving on, Marianne tells of the time she gave herself a dirty Sanchez. Lucienne talks about giving a Mississippi bird bath. Gail talks about receiving a ramen yarmulke. Tanis talks about having cold lunch or a Spanish breakfast. Mia Sophia gave her boyfriend a hot Richard, and Mrs. McMurray once partook in bukkake. And then things go from bad to we got the blue spatula. Things go from bad to worse.
I once fucked a guy on a campsite who looked like a UTI waiting to happen. So I preemptively stole $40 from his wallet to pay for the meds. I didn't end up getting a UTI, so I used the money to go to a water park where I got a UTI.
I get real nervous during pap smears. Once farted into my gyno's face so hard, parted his hair right down the middle.
I once queefed so loud after sex, my neighbors thought I bought a dirt bike.
Well, I once queefed so loud after sex, it was like my mitt was sending a warning shot to my butthole about who's in charge.
I once queefed so loud after sex that the dog heard and answered the call of the wild.
Fuck the ginger. And boots. And they fucked an ostrich.
Well, we have a winner.
Round 1 goes to Mrs. McMurray. Next scene, back at Modine's 3. Professor Tricia begins her presentation. As she's speaking, she says she doesn't want to be in her work clothes anymore, so she begins changing in front of the men. They sit there staring, mouths gaping, except for Wayne, who's looking up at the ceiling while this takes place. McMurray has a question.
Professor Tricia?
It's Tricia.
Tricia, you strike me as a very rational, down-to-earth kind of woman, which isn't what I think any of us were expecting.
No?
No, Squirrely sometimes made you seem like kind of a...
Bitch.
McMurray! I was gonna say cunt.
Which is better.
But I'm almost positive I'm not gonna be able to get you guys to do what I want you to do by being a cunt. So, here is what we're gonna do. One by one, each of you are gonna come up here and do some tire pumping for a woman you admire. Now, who would like to go first?
Squirrely Dan's hand shoots up like an eager primary school student. Derry calls him a brown noser. Professor Tricia, she gets the ball rolling.
So a woman I admire is Lizzie Sear. And I admire her because she gave a dude gonorrhea in 1917.
Is that supposed to be a good thing?
It was in this case.
How come no one ever admired me for giving them that?
Well, the man she gave it to ratted her out, and she was charged with vagrancy. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada, where her defense lawyer appealed the conviction on the grounds that the female magistrate who made the ruling did not have the legal authority to act as a judge because, as a woman, she was not considered a person under the British North America Act.
Wait, this is the best part.
Teacher's pet.
The case ultimately led to women officially being declared people by the British Privy Council.
I would take a bit of the clap if it meant changing the world.
Me too, Stuart.
Professor Tricia likes Rold's enthusiasm. She asks him to go next. Rold chooses Celine Dion as the woman he admires because she's a musical legend and a fashion icon and a mother. Riley likes that she's a hockey fan, and Dickens says she's part owner of Schwartz's Smoke Meat in Montreal, and this gets Wayne's attention. But what Rold admires most about her is that she, like him, fell in love with someone her peers considered unconventional. Then Roald gives Stuart a thirsty look. Stuart looks away uncomfortably. Finally, she's someone who is loved and celebrated by the French and English Canadians alike. She plays for both teams. Wayne agrees that everyone loves Celine Dion wherever you are, wherever you go, nears, fars, or wherever you are. Next up are Riley and Jonesy.
A woman that I admire is this Tinderella, Crystal. Crystal is 22 years old and she lives 68 kilometers from here.
Why?
Good face, great tits, unreal shitter. Also, her profile says I'm not like other girls, and that's important to me.
A woman I admire is this Tinderella, Jen, 23, 74 kilometers away.
Same reason?
Honeybee.
Look at the shitter on her.
This shit house on her.
That's offensive to women.
Nah.
Nah?
And that's a good lesson. You see, women are unique, complex individuals. They ain't all the same. What some women find offensive, other women don't find offensive at all. Now, do you think those girls posted photos of themselves not wanting people to look at them? There are many avenues to female empowerment. For some, displaying the body is one. Not sure they'd appreciate their butts in those yoga pants being called shitters, but I could be wrong.
But shit house is cool?
My point, if a woman isn't offended, a man really has no right to be offended for her. Who's next?
Next scene, back at the pageant. It's time for round 2, the filthiest mouth competition. The rules is they chirp until one person's left not laughing. So Marianne kicks it off.
Lucienne, your mitt looks like a Thanksgiving turkey that got dried out in the oven, stuffed by a family member, and disappointed everyone who ate it.
Marianne, your mitt looks like Brad Pitt's face after that beating in Fight Club. Dudes fuck you with the same rules as Fight Club. You don't talk about it.
Tannis, they call your mitt the Stanley Cup because sweaty dudes pass it around and drink beer out of it.
They call your mitt the Chronicles of Narnia because it's got more warts than a witch. It smells like a lion. It's as big as a wardrobe.
Miss Matt, your mitt's like a convenience store worker. It gets paid $12 an hour to serve anyone who walks through the door.
You know what, Mia Sophia? Your legs are like Quebec in a referendum. All I want to do is separate, but there's no good outcome if they do.
That's my favorite. The chirping continues for a few more rounds. Then Tannis deals a low blow when she says Gail's mitt's a bigger tragedy than 9/11. Mrs. McMurray's, though, she deals this classic.
Your mitt's like your high school report card. Your parents are ashamed of it. It needs improvement, and it's full of D's.
Marianne's mitt has made more men cry than Field of Dreams. Gail's mitt is like a 7-Eleven. Everyone gets a free Slurpee in July. But once again, Mrs. McMurray wins it.
Your mitt smells so shitty. Dudes need to light a match before they leave the room.
So bad. Next scene. We finally get Squirrely Dan presenting the woman he admires, multi-Emmy nominee and Golden Globe winner and jazz artist Kim Cattrall. He's most impressed with her takedown of former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau's. That's some powers, recognizing powers right there. So even though Squirrely Dan personally identifies as a Charlotte, his pick is Kim Cattrall. I'm assuming this is a Sex and the City reference. I looked it up. Somebody named Charlotte. So yes, I'm getting a nod from Miriam. Next up is McMurray, who is very drunk. This makes the others nervous because we all know what happens when McMurray's drunk. And he doesn't disappoint. McMurray chooses his wife as the woman he admires, which is sweet enough. The reason he gives are her liberal views on sex and sexual relations. She lets him fuck other women. This makes the other men wince. Professor Tricia rolls with it by saying, different strokes. But McMurray interrupts by talking about the boys' trips down south and all the mischief they get into. He begins rhyming off some of the hashtags they use to stay in touch on social medias, like Cunt Hunt 2014, Snatch Catch 2013, or We've Come for the Front Bum 2012. The other boys have had enough. They yell at McMurray to stop. Professor Tricia starts to say that she's no doctor, but, and this sends Squirrely Dan into hysterics because she is a doctor, but then Professor Tricia gets to her point.
McMurray, you say you admire your wife for her liberal views on sex, but it also sounds like you appreciate her for respecting your needs and being a good communicator.
Well, I suppose all that is true. I love her for letting me go down south and get in trouble with the boys, but at the end of the day, it's her I want to be in trouble with. And her I want to go down south on.
Wonderful. Oh, And is hashtag hot for slot taken yet?
Not yet.
It's all yours if you want it.
Next scene, final round at the pageant is the tackiest dress. We're treated to a musical montage of the contestants modeling some tacky looks. Marianne is wearing an outfit with very large shoulder pads and her hair is done up in a faux hawk. Lucienne is sporting a lady mullet, blue sequin dress with matching blue sequin running shoes. Gail is sporting a tiger mini skirt with a toque and giant pearls and biker boots. Tanis is wearing a cross between late 80s prom and or bridesmaid dress with lots of lace, fur shawl, and crimped hair. Mia Sophia comes out in a tiny, shiny gold dress with slits up both legs and a Madonna-style ponytail on top. And finally, Mrs. McMurray in electric blue metallic mini dress, crimped hair, heavy makeup, and very high platform heels. I feel like McMurray when I'm explaining all those outfits, like the way he used to explain outfits to Wayne. Next scene, back at Modine's 3, Derry is describing his pick for the woman he admires. His descriptions sound a bit like it might be Roberta Bondar, which gets Wayne very excited. That's fucking Bondar. When Derry's done, Wayne stands up and applauds and yells at everyone else to do the same. Stuart goes next. He West Side Stories struts up beside Professor Tricia, does a little spin, extends his hand to introduce himself, and then Stuart proceeds with his pick.
Christine Sinclair.
An athlete.
A fucking soccer player? Didn't see that's coming.
Should call it football.
Fuck off.
Women's soccer is different, Shirt Tucker. It is still the beautiful game when they play. Christine Sinclair scored 185 goals in 290 international matches, which is more than any player in the history of soccer.
Should call it football.
Fuck off.
Christine Sinclair, you have my admiration.
Stuart makes a few more hilarious moves in front of Professor Tricia, reintroduces himself. She responds with, still Tricia, and Stuart struts back to his seat. Next up is Dickens, who says he can't pick a woman. Not one woman. Instead, he'll list them all. Dickens stands up and knocks his head on a hanging lamp, recovers, and begins rhyming off all the women he admires, starting with the letter A. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Next scene. It's time to crown the winner of the Miss Modeniality pageant. And of course, it's Mrs. McMurray. Bonnie bestows a mirrored bro dude drinking helmet to the winner. The very drunk Mrs. McMurray makes her acceptance speech.
There's a sense of camaraderie amongst us all. And when the grocery store ran out of tampons, there was the sock people amongst us. There was the SOS bad people amongst us.
Can't forget old Hay Bale Gale.
But the most important thing is there was no hoarding of any of it. We shared. You know, some real children of the corn shit. All of us getting our periods at the exact same time like that. And if that wasn't bad enough, I had a particularly messy month. It was Shark Week down there.
Red Wedding for me.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Climactic scene of the movie Carrie.
Saw 4.
Saw 1 through 4.
I was one amongst us who stuffed an SOS pad down there just to get by. But who was there for me when McMurray came home from the store with steel wool sponges instead of SOS pads? Used. And who was there for me when I was out of clean socks and he didn't know how to work the laundry machine? Used. And that's why I share this award with yous.
And the contestants all have a group hug. Next scene, back at Modine's 3, the only person left to present is Wayne. Wayne gets up, clears his throat, his back turned to Professor Tricia. He's looking very uncomfortable. He even clenches his fists as he's speaking, probably, to try to keep from crying.
Why to keep this short and sweet? It likely comes no surprise to you that I picked my sister. I'll pick my sister Katie, so I do just about anything for her, but she do just about anything for me, so we always been there for each other, so.
You make a habit of telling her that from time to time?
Not likely doesn't do either of us any good if I don't tell her that from time to time, so. Otherwise, like, how's she gonna know, but. So I guess better go do that now. Such a come and give and talk and everything, so.
Wayne drops his head, storms out of the bar without looking at Professor Tricia, and the rest of the guys just sit there for a second processing what they've just witnessed. Then McMurray yells at Wayne that he's coming too, and they all get up and follow to give some love to the women in their lives. Squirrely Dan thanks Professor Tricia for her presentation. Final scene, Wayne arrives at the Egg Hall.
Hey, Katie. You want what? I just want to say thanks for everything that you do for me, because I do just about anything for you. I know you do just about anything for me, but I guess it doesn't do either of us any good if we don't tell each other that from time to time, so. Happy International Women's Day.
And with tears in her eyes, Katie goes and hugs her brother. Rosie follows, also crying. Derry and Squirrely Dan join in on the group hug, and we fade to black. That's the episode. Oh, got a little applause from Matt there. All right, and I'm up first. This is great. Man, what to say about this episode? It's an episode. Let's see. It's Letterkenny, so of course this is how they handle International Women's Day. I really
May I interrupt?
Yeah.
If it's International Women's Day, shouldn't Tanya go first?
You know what?
Oh, Miriam, I hate going first, girl.
I was just following our lineup, but you know,
Be like, power to the women tonight.
Yes, Tanya, you lead us off.
Oh, good Lord.
Thank goodness. Yes, please.
Oh, nice. You were only too quick to pass that on.
But can I tell you something? I looked up, because I didn't know all the terms. So I looked up all the terms for you, Tanya. I don't know, because I know you do like to do your internet searches about, ostriches.
Yes, please.
I did the majority of the searches on my phone.
You went down a dark hole.
Yeah, dark hole.
Yeah.
Dark.
There's some issues there with some of the cold lunch and the Spanish breakfast.
And at times shitty holes. Yes. Well, so do you want to go first, Miriam?
Absolutely.
No, Tanya, no. Guests never go first.
Okay.
Yes. There's so much to unfold in this episode. Like truly, the flip. I know there's two like major scenes going on. The professor. Good Lord, it's not coming out. Professor.
Are you sure you haven't had wine?
Fuck, I wish I did. Professor.
Just say Trisha. Yeah, Trisha.
Let's say Trisha. And then the anti-beauty pageant. So, oh my gosh. And they go, and they're both, it just feels like a really loaded episode. There's so much with the wordplay again, classic Letterkenny. The girls chirping at each other and, syncing up of the periods. That is a thing, just so men understand. As long as the women aren't on birth control or anything like that, we will sync up with each other, and it happens, and it's kind of hilarious. But at least everybody's got their products with them, and it's helpful. I thought it was so funny, and I could just kind of see an innocent like if something like that happened, and of course. During this pandemic, there were situations where the grocery stores were completely empty of all products. So having that kind of vision of everybody syncing up and all the tampons being gone, and the men or Mr. McMurray grabbing SOS pads because it says pads in it. I just thought that I could see him doing that, and how horrible that would be.
Go with the Mr. Clean magic eraser before an SOS.
Magic eraser. Oh my God.
But I thought he had steel wool.
And steel wool. Yeah. She said SOS pads and he grabbed steel wool.
That was interesting because, she said McMurray came home with steel wool instead of SOS pads. So she would have rather
neither one. Nothing. No. Socks. I would go with the socks.
They're more absorbent.
But I don't know.
Then steel wool.
Yeah, well, they're. SOS pads are in.
The other one is a good choice.
Both are steel.
I can recognize.
I feel like both are steel.
They're both steel wool. One's just got the
and one would have
the blue chemical
leaking out of you.
That's the SOS.
Yeah,
which actually sparks my mind because never do we ever watch live TV anymore. We seem to be either Netflix or Crave or whatever. I have to put this in because it's fitting. So I saw a commercial the other day, which I don't usually, and I saw a commercial for a period, and they were talking about for the pads for the period.
But it wasn't for Depend or something?
No, it was for pads.
Oh, okay.
And they used red dye instead of blue dye. And that is a win, people. Like, I know it's kind of gross to y'all, but I think that was just, it stopped me. And I went, oh my God, they used red dye. Like, I thought it was brilliant because who leaks blue dye? Going back to this whole SOS pad scenario, who bleeds blue dye? I found the same thing when we went to Portugal. Friggin' 10 years ago, whatever it was now, and they used yellow dye for the diapers to show the absorbency on for diapers. And I remember thinking, yeah, of course it should be yellow because it's pee instead of this blue water that they keep on showing.
Hydrated.
Anyways, so there's just so much things that I need help with. I didn't quite understand Trisha getting changed in front of the boys. Mm-hmm. I didn't quite get why that was happening. Like,
Yeah,
you're looking at me. I have no idea either.
I don't think I understand.
I think it's an old trope. I think it's just, that's she's basically taking the power, right?
I guess. So, yeah, like I wasn't complaining, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of a strange thing for her to be doing while she was presenting in front of the boys, but yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I would respect a guy for doing it, so I'm not entirely sure I see the empowerment of the woman doing it, because it just is a sexual thing almost, because she had very lovely lingerie on, and I'm thinking, well, is there an empowerment thing going? So I need help understanding that one.
I think this is something you can talk with the ladies about next week at the ladies' night.
But, I'm sure that goes way deeper.
I can't wait to hear that conversation with you.
I'm sure that goes way deeper. I just didn't see what it was, where that connection was.
As soon as she did that, she owned the room, right? She had all the power. They were all sitting in their little chairs. Mm-hmm. She basically almost kind of demasculated.
There you go.
But then that leaves to the question: a woman has to reveal herself in order to get the room.
It's just she just did it in that moment, right? It was about that specific scenario. I don't think she was trying to say women should be, coming into meetings with their male counterparts and undressed. That's she came to do a thing, and that was the thing that she did. Mm-hmm. And it was tropey. It was tropey. It's it's like, I feel like, okay, it's 2022 now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a lot of it. I think we'll get more into it, but a lot of it was a little heavy-handed, right? But that's what the episode was about. So
yeah.
Well, and while we're on that topic, I think she's a women's studies teacher. She recognized her audience. Nothing about what she did other than get changed was sexual in nature. She was just wearing something nice and just simply got changed, right? So we took it to that level, but she's like, I'm just doing this knowing I'm getting your attention. And like Victor said, she now owned them from that point forward. I think she made a reference about, I'm doing what I need to do. If I don't do this, I won't get you to do what I want you to do, right? So she doesn't necessarily agree with it, but she knew something drastic.
The point you're making, that line there, she's saying, if I acted like a cunt, I wouldn't be able to get to. So she wasn't referring to stripping almost naked. Right. She's referring to, they thought their vision of Professor Trish in their minds was a stuffy, maybe librarian-esque, sorry, awesome, person. And so she was kind of killing that, those expectations. But I don't think what she said referred to her getting undressed. I think what
Not
she said
necessarily, but it was what she was doing was the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And just, she made it, she got, I mean, right or wrong.
Yeah.
She made a statement. She owned them.
Yeah.
And they were part of her class the rest of the episode.
She
right?
definitely owned the room. Yeah, she definitely owned the room and did. But yeah, I mean, it was curious that she did that and that they did that.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not entirely sure. I like any of those responses, but okay. You're
not supposed to like them.
No, like it's still. I don't. Mariam, what do you think?
I was actually a little surprised, like you, and it was interesting because I'm also part of the spoiler chat, and Awesome had some interesting take on it, which you'll probably hear next week. But then I stopped reading that chat because I didn't want that to influence.
Right. Yeah.
What I thought of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I didn't quite understand it as well. But Awesome made a good point.
Okay.
She'll bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it. Yeah, because I
feel like this whole episode today is teasing next week's episode. Like,
Yes.
And it's giving all of you ammunition to then turn around and tell us why we're wrong. And that's okay. And we're going to accept that. And we're going to listen and enjoy the rebuttal next week.
No, but I think from what I remember, Awesome's take on it was similar to like what Victor was saying, is that it was just her way of like owning the room. So
yeah, and I mean, I get it. She definitely owned the room by doing that. I think the dangerous message there is that the only way a woman can own a room?
Right.
Right, and that's the only thing. Right?
But that's not what she was saying. Like,
no, you're right. You're right. It's not what she was saying. But
she's in a room with a bunch of children, right? It's not like you're not a woman that is not always in a room with a bunch of children. And that.
So she's teasing them with candy.
Well, that's the thing, right? It goes back to the if you go back to you think about all of these kind of over masculine guys who say things to women, or used to. It doesn't happen anymore. Like the way
really? It doesn't.
Right? No, but whatever. Like I'm talking about the 80s, right? Not like 10 years ago. Like where men would just say very, very chauvinistic, dumb things to women.
Still happens.
And then when women call them out on it, then they kind of, get in a little fetal position, usually kind of squirm away. So I think this is the 2022 version of that, right? Where she comes in, she just takes the room, she takes control before they even have a chance to say something inappropriate towards her or whatever. She just owns it. And then,
they say the inappropriate things anyway. It just doesn't faze
not to her. Not to her.
Well, I mean, yeah, McMurray says, we thought you might be a cunt. And Riley and Jonesy are like, doing Tinder in front of them and talking about the woman or a girl's asshole. What? No, shitter.
But they saw her as the leader figure in the room, right? She was the authority figure in the room, regardless of what they were saying, and they saw her as that. Wasn't again? It was a little tropey that she needed to take her clothes off to help her get that. But it is what
I think it's important to note that there's 3 writing credits on this episode, Kiso and 2 female writers. And I should have wrote their names down.
Yeah, you should have.
I'm sorry. I will post that.
Miss.
I know it was a big miss. I'll make sure it's in your script for next Friday.
Oh, why? Thank you.
One job. I was rushing today to get my notes done. So I apologize, but yeah, there was 2.
It'd have been better to say nothing there.
Well, no, but I think it's important because the like we're talking about this, and Victor mentions it's tropey and stuff. This isn't just a Kiso coined episode. And in fact, he gets 3rd billing below the 2 female writers. So I think that's important to note. That he's 1/3 of the writing team on this episode. So, yeah. What do you think of
not
the
as important as knowing the names of the women, but it is important.
Okay, fuck. I can look it up. Here's the thing. It's such a new episode. It won't be on IMDb. So the only way I can get those names is by going on Crave, playing the episode till the end, pausing and writing their names down. So that's
Did you
why.
do that?
No.
He just flew back last night.
Fuck off. I will have it for next week, or maybe even for the after party tonight. Okay, I apologize. I will tweet it out for the world to hear.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Other than picking like things here and there, there were several funny laugh out loud moments. What was I going to say? Oh my gosh.
I don't know, but this was the longest introduction you've ever had so far, Tanya. I think you've been talking for the last 30 minutes.
Hey, I brought you all into the conversation now. You blew a spatula yourself there.
Yeah.
I just was going to say that, it is a standalone episode. And I like, again, they just brought everybody in, but they missed Glenn again. And I think Glenn would have been fun
where would Glenn have belonged? Well, I guess Glenn would have been with the boys because Roald was with the boys, but
yeah. I think that was because they had everybody. They had Dickens and McMurray and Riley and Jonesy.
Glenn and his nurse's outfit would have been with the ladies. So I beg your pardon.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, what did you think of the end there? The
Well, I gotta give it, like, I love Wayne. Wayne is just fantastic. I love how he, diverted his eyes when, Trisha was undressing. And I love his delivery. Oh my gosh. He was absolutely perfect. How he was, verklempt and trying to keep it together and trying to look away. And even how he was standing, and feeling so, on the spot and, trying to divert his, emotions. The end was great. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked the episode. There was some perplexing moments, some uncomfortable moments, and they're probably intentional. I'm going to say they're intentional for male viewers, and the payoff at the end was amazing. I love the payoff. What a great heartfelt ending. And seeing Katie kind of in tears and stuff, I thought was really great. It was a nice touch, and a heartfelt ending to an otherwise weird, wacky, dirty episode. Just so dirty. Victor, what did you think?
I think it would have been fun if they had the periodic table of periods in the background on stage. I thought, or mitts. One or the other would have been
mitts
fun.
In the background. You would have wanted to see mitts in the background.
Yeah, but like on a periodic table, and so you have like 118 different mitts.
What's that artist's name that paints women's vaginas? What's the
George O'Keefe.
Yeah. Maybe just
write him a letter, Tanya.
That's it. That's all you got. You wanted mitts in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I had to get that in there. So, it's been a while since my wife watched an episode with me because she kind of tapped out a while ago. And we were just kind of together. And I said, I got to watch this. And she's okay, I'll watch with you. And then that's like, oh, crap. It's like what Matt said, his family kind of watches the worst ones in terms of kind of getting. So this was not a good episode. Like when you're taking a break because of the, the silliness or the juvenileness of it. And then the first thing we get is, the first contest, what was the name of it?
Oh, whatever. The disgusting one. Yeah.
The least congenial
one.
Thing.
Least congenial. And so I'm looking at her. I said, I'm sorry.
So Linda did not enjoy this is what you're saying.
She kind of tapped out at that when that was happening. So, okay, I'll leave you to it. So that kind of, it got better after that, but yeah, that was, that probably the low point of the episode. But the rest of it was pretty good.
Okay. Matt, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. So I'll start off banking on what Victor just said about Linda's response to the episode, because Jen's response was the opposite. And I think to Professor Trish's point is, we make assumptions on what women or anyone in general, but women in this case, respond to and will have issue with. And at the end of the day, everyone's different, right? Everyone will take issue with different things, have different personality types, and that's just human nature. So I watched an episode of this with Jen, and she's laughing her ass off. Like, we're like hitting each other, crying at some of these things, and it is by far the most brutal episode in terms of how far they took it. I think across the entire series, they really dug deep and hit some points that like you're cringing, but it was so brilliant. And I love that they took it that far. Again, my wife is very much on that cringeworthy side at times. I love her for it. It's amazing. We have a lot of laughs, and I'm surrounded by a lot of women who have that kind of sense of humor. So I'm used to it and hearing some things, but I know the contrasting side as well. So it's human nature. And I think this whole episode, there was a lot of contrast in the fact that there's two storylines, but very distinct differences in the two, right? I feel like the men's side was, yes, love it or hate it. It was a woman trying to get a message across to celebrate women any way she could, or how she thought she needed to get whether that, again, you already called it out, Tanya. Wayne was looking away. They weren't all responding to that the same way, back to the same point. But she felt, this is how I'm going to get through to these men to get them to celebrate women. Whereas on the women's side, it was all women doing this pageant, and like, let's just show the opposite of any stereotype that we possibly think or know or believe are women. So it really was trying to shatter all beliefs or misconceptions. And I thought it was brilliant in itself, in that kind of nature. Did they go really far? Yes, they did. Did it make me laugh? Yes. Did I appreciate what they were trying to do? Yeah, 100%. I of all the holiday episodes, I love that they tackled this one, because I can't actually think of another show that's done it. I mean, at least to an extent where there's a full episode dedicated to it. And if there is, I apologize. I'm just not aware of them.
Right.
But I like that they took this on. And I genuinely think, doing Letterkenny style, they achieved this goal in spades. So I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. And yeah, I did laugh. And then at the end, we'll go right to the end scene with Wayne. That was, so again, I love the show. It makes me laugh. I will say, this is the first time I genuinely felt something beyond just humor. Like I got choked up when he was delivering. As soon as he stepped up, I'm like, it's Katie for sure.
Yeah.
How he delivered that, his stance, everything, I thought was brilliant. And then when he approaches Katie and starts, and the second they cut to Katie, you can see it in her eyes.
Yeah.
And I was sold hook, line, and sinker. And that moment between them was one of the most powerful moments, like, in the entire series. It culminated everything we know about them, but he's never been vulnerable like that for her. And you could see how much she genuinely appreciated that moment without saying anything in response. It was just, I thought it was a perfect moment. And like I said, I got choked up. Right or wrong, it was weird for me to get in that show. I've never had that.
Yeah.
So to me, this was a highly successful episode in what they were doing.
Okay. Miriam, before you begin with that, you said you looked up all these terms. There's only one that I didn't know about, or because it wasn't described. What's a Mississippi bird bath?
Well, actually, that's
she does describe it,
because I couldn't understand, and the subtitles called it sippy bird bath.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, what's sippy? Like a sippy cup? Like, it just didn't make sense. And yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually never wrote down the definition.
I think she said something about having like Kool-Aid in her mouth and dipping the balls in her mouth. Anyway,
in the mouth, yeah.
So bad. It's so fucking wrong.
So maybe it was sippy.
I don't know. I thought
it is Mississippi.
I think she said
because I looked it up on Urban Dictionary. So.
Oh, jeez. What did you guys think? Okay, we'll start with you, Miriam. What did you think of this?
I liked it. I liked it. So just a couple of things. Because the guys are always like, oh, Bonnie McMurray.
Yeah.
But now all the women are also doing it. And I thought that was kind of funny that the women were like that. And that they had these callbacks, right? So Ginger and Boots and the Ostrich, that came out. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. This might go against like everybody. I just thought Wayne looked completely constipated.
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
Uncomfortable.
And I'm like, oh, like I just found it.
But that's the way somebody like him would be being vulnerable in front. First, he was being vulnerable in front of his buddies. Like think about how difficult that was for him. Yeah. And then in front of his sister, maybe less so, but he was still in a public spot. Right. Yeah. I think it was well.
He
done.
flirts, remember, by turning pages, by licking his finger and turning page. That's how he flirts. He's very uncomfortable with emotion.
If you want, he was clenching his fists. I think that was to give himself a little bit of pain in order to not cry or something. I don't know. Like those, and he couldn't face Professor Trisha. His back was to her. Because I think if he looked at her, he might start bawling. Like that's the way I took it. Right. Like,
yeah.
And we've always played that he's well, sorry, very quickly. I think we've always played with the idea that we believe he's on the spectrum and his battle with emotions. I think this was the culmination of that. Like he really didn't know how to do it and he wanted to get through it. And that's what we got.
And keeping his sentences short, because again, the longer he speaks, the more chance he has of breaking down crying. Like I thought it was well done. And then he takes that breath and in his low voice, Happy International Women's Day, Katie. I thought it was brilliant. And yeah, like if Field of Dreams doesn't make me cry, but this might have.
And I also like that they kind of put Katie and Rosie and Bonnie McMurray kind of on the back burner and they just kind of focused more on the secondary. I don't want to call them secondary.
Yeah, but they are. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, and I like that they gave them a chance to shine.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I love the joke that no one knew Bro Dude's name, the Bro Dude rep's name. Not even Tanis, who's been like having sex with her for months.
I don't know.
I have to wonder what she's been calling her.
Probably doesn't need to call her.
And again, that's typically that they would joke like that. Again, kind of old 80s movies that guys would kind of be like that. And they're just, again, showing that, hey, women aren't any different.
Yeah. They hit every stereotype.
Yeah.
Juan, what did you think?
Oh, I was laughing all the way through.
Yeah.
What really got me wasn't the all the different names. Well, actually, it was. The one that really killed me was the Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. Just
my head immediately went to, okay, which one?
It's so visual. It's such a visual.
Tobey Maguire's character can shoot his own webs. Like he actually produces his own webs. The other ones have to make it.
Now you're overthinking.
You're in the Spider-Verse at this point.
They were clearly talking about Spider Pig.
Oh man. I loved Stewart's kind of flirting with Professor Trisha, the way he walked up to her, the way he kind of did the just
with the hands.
Like, man. So funny.
But what was funny though with Stewart is that he said, like when he introduced himself to Professor Trisha, he said his name the way Roald says his name.
Yeah, he did. You're right. Yeah.
Stewart. It was Stewart.
Yeah.
Stewart. Yeah. Stewart. Yeah. And I thought, oh, okay. Has he ever referred to himself in the same way that Roald calls him? Like,
he did this time.
Yeah. And I like that, bring back Roberta Bondar.
Yeah, that was great.
That callback.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, Wayne's reaction to that,
Bondar
he's like, that's Bondar. He got all excited. Yeah.
He wanted everybody to stand, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Or clap or something. Yeah.
He yelled at them to everyone stand. Yeah, that was great. All right. Any other points?
The only thing is, cold lunch and a Spanish breakfast are two completely different things.
Oh.
So you can't say that they're the same thing.
It's not one or the other because they're completely different.
No. Would you really like to know what the differences are?
Why not?
But
do it.
I do.
If we're going to do it somewhere, we're going to do it here.
Exactly.
Yeah. A cold lunch is when you throw open another person's mouth.
Oh.
Why?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a thing.
Yeah.
Spanish breakfast. So this is after having sex. So obviously the man is ejaculated into a partner. And then the partner goes to do a strenuous activity, like run.
Okay.
And it describes the liquid that leaks out.
Oh.
That's Spanish breakfast. So one's barf and one's ejaculate. So they're not the same thing. Leakage with strenuous activity.
Wow.
Yes.
That's so specific. It's like, amazing. It needed a name.
And then
or like a meal title to it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. And then I thought, so what is Jerry just going on Urban Dictionary and like, oh, what can we pick? What, where did they come up? Like, you just know, I didn't know half of these.
Right.
I had to look them up. Right. And
of course not.
No.
You're a chemist. Come on.
She's a biochemist.
Biochemist. Apologies.
Which actually makes more sense with the ejaculate.
Right. There you go. Do you have any opinion on batching in space before we move on then?
Batching in space.
But I heard on the news, the radio, that they were talking about they wanted to study sex in space.
Oh, there you go. So they should send Bondar back up. No. She doesn't. She doesn't want to be back up there. Bondar's astronaut friend, the one she didn't get along with. They should send him back.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll move on to ratings then. Tanya, what do you give this episode? Fresh, clearance, or compost?
Oh gosh. I'm just gonna expand on some things here. Yeah. I want to just say, in being a woman myself and partaking in different events, the last 2 years ago, I guess it was, there was a International Women's Day event that I had went to, and they had the fashion show and the town.
The men cooked and waited on the women.
Men cooked and waited on us. And there was women that were there that were, oh my God, the sashes. Oh my God, I can't think. They were crowned. Yeah, like beauty pageant sort of thing and everything. So I've done that. I've done the vagina monologue, which I recommend to all women. Oh my God, loved that show so much. And the extremeness of those things. Plus, I've done like lingerie sex parties and stuff, where women just go full out, just no holds bar. I loved this take. I loved that they didn't do, the pageant. They did it Letterkenny style. They showed women talking to women and just, again, they just went for it. They always push the envelope to that little bit of uncomfortableness and some of their things, like these Spanish breakfasts or whatever. Apparently they're
Spanish lunch.
Who throws up in somebody's mouth. But anyways, I love how they did the Professor Trisha with the guys and the women being so just out. It just makes me laugh. Like even this week, my friends and I, we were talking about menopause and all of the different symptoms and things to look for. And it's, I just love the rawness of it and just being able to yeah, it's just fun. Anyways, fresh. I'm going to give it a fresh.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I didn't, this is a very uncomfortable episode for me. And I think it's by design. I think it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's meant to be for male viewers to be uncomfortable. I loved the payoff at the end. I think at the end it was amazing. I think there was a lot of fun parts to this. I loved seeing Marianne again. Anything with Tanis in it is always fun. So yeah, I like that they brought back most people. Dickens, and Professor Tricia was a pleasant surprise. Like, because everyone, I had the same image of what she was, what she is as everyone else. So for them to flip the script with that, it was great. I can't give this a fresh. It's not. To me, it doesn't feel like fresh. It got so dirty and so wrong. I can't give it a fresh, but so I'm going to give it a clearance on the strength of that, of the Wayne and Katie payoff at the end. I loved that. I mean, if it weren't so dirty, I might have given it.
Can I challenge you though?
What?
Can I challenge you? What's that?
So please do challenge him.
Can I challenge you to think if the episode was male, shown on the side of guys, like I know that McMurray makes the crude, and we've not really ever liked that part of him. But if it was, the guys getting together and the guys talking and the guys, like, would you still be that uncomfortable? Are you uncomfortable because
yes,
it's the side of women?
But I said as much. I think that's the purpose of the episode, is to make the male viewer uncomfortable and to teach a lesson. I appreciate the intention of the episode, and but if I were to be truthful, I didn't like other than that last scene and a few things in between. My enjoyment of the episode wasn't, fresh level, but I think I give it a strong clearance. It's an important. I mean, I've given important episodes in the past good ratings, and so that pushes this rating up to a high clearance. I just can't give it a fresh. I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much as that. Victor?
I couldn't disagree more with you and Tanya at the same time.
Oh, really?
So first of all, Matt, stop caressing my nose. Every time you go and adjust your camera, it looks like you're reaching into my head.
just enjoy.
Thank you. So I have almost exactly the same take as Al, but for different reasons. So I too thought this was a good episode. It's important, the kind of that it was done. However, I did not find it uncomfortable because of the fact that it was women that were doing or saying these things, Tanya, as you're suggesting. I feel like if you take the episode and subtract the vomiting and the pooping, everything's okay.
Right.
Everything's okay. It's, for me, what took it over the line for me is the first contest. The Mitt stuff was hilarious. It was great. No issues with any of that stuff. That was awesome. Marianne is gold. Like it was so good. But that first contest, and that was the whole purpose of the contest. Get as down and dirty as you possibly can. It wasn't the fact that it was women saying this stuff.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Yeah, I think if a guy was saying he'd shit in Tupperware on a long drive to the zoo, I'd be just as disgusted. Yeah, you're right.
But that's my point. That's why I'm disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
You're sitting there saying, "Oh no, it's because it has nothing to do with them with women. It has to do with the acts themselves." That's what I found revolting. Is that the acts? It's just like when Miss McMurray was it was the last episode or 2 episodes ago, where she was describing, I think at the pub, and she was standing over Mr. McMurray,
the shot down her back
and the shot going through the ass.
Oh, yeah.
No, that would have been even worse if it no, that's not a women thing. It's just the act itself.
Yeah.
And so if you take this whole episode, you even take the first contest and remove the Sanchez's and the cold lunches and
the poop in a condom for the Alaskan pipeline, that one there.
What the heck is that?
Because that's the stuff.
Frozen poop in a condom so the woman could stick it up her. Yeah.
No, where's it going up?
her hoo-ha.
No way.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't make this shit up. They wrote it.
No, is that a thing?
God.
I don't know.
Tanya, while you're researching.
Good Lord. No way, man. Those are not being looked up, especially on the work computer.
So my whole point is that this wasn't gross because women were saying them. It was just, it's gross.
Again, they love
Miriam's
pushing the
point,
line.
There's clearly this stuff exists because there's people that do weird and wacky stuff.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's not. But the episode wasn't about people doing weird and wacky stuff in the bedroom or wherever. It was about women, and so I feel like if you remove that lowest of the low kind of nasty stuff, apologies to those that are enthusiasts. If you remove that stuff out of the episode, this episode is an easy fresh.
Yeah.
But like my wife is the furthest thing from a prude or anything like that. She just said, I don't need this right now, but thanks. You enjoy. She didn't leave because she was offended as a woman hearing women say these things. She just didn't want to hear the vomiting and the pooping. And I stayed because it was my homework.
Right.
So, and I'm a good student. So anyway, that's my whole position. That's why I kind of disagree with Tanya now. But
you know what?
This is an easy clearance.
Okay, good. You know what, Victor? I don't disagree with you. You probably just explained it better than I did, because you're right. I'm with you. None of it had to do with the fact it was women. It was the disgust factor, I think. So for sure, I agree with you there. Matt?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I hear you guys. I still think there's a bit of a subconscious there that, I mean, we've heard jokes like this in many different movies, shows, things like that. Maybe not this many in consecutive order. I think that plays a factor in. Like there's references to Sanchez and Ness, and I've always laughed, right?
Right.
The fact that it's being hammered at you for like 5 minutes straight, and it's women, I think does actually play a factor whether you want to admit it or not. I'm not going to debate it to death because we're not going to get anywhere.
Sure.
But I think there is an element there that we're just not giving enough context to. That all said, and it's fine. This is one of the easiest freshes I've given in a while. I think the episode is brilliant. I love what they did. I love that they made it uncomfortable. I love that they just pushed it so far. Like they're like, we're good. And I think everything they do in Letterkenny is very intentional. They're like, we are going to make this as awkward and gross and as far to show that it can come from this context and this from this place. And I believe it. Okay. And I'm okay with that. And I loved it. And at the same time, there's a big contrast of celebration here. So I thought it was a really brilliant episode. I would actually argue this was probably one of, if not the best of the holiday episodes that they've done. I really, really enjoyed it. And then, like I said, in my previous, to bring it all together with that moment, a celebration of Katie at the end. I really thought this was a fantastic episode, and I thought they did a great job. So it hands down one of the easiest freshes I've given in a long time.
Okay. That Blue Mountain internet is failing you a little bit there, Matt, but it's okay. We got the message.
All right.
Miriam, what do you give this episode?
A fresh.
Yeah.
No, I laughed. It could have gone actually a bit longer. I found it a little short.
Okay.
Because there was no cold open.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I think Victor missed the cold open too. Yeah.
It was still a 26-minute episode?
Yeah, actually, it was a meaty episode. For Letterkenny, it was a on the long side of an episode. But yeah, the lack of
it too short.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it just went by too fast.
Well, you were enjoying it, obviously. Because,
I was.
You wanted more.
Yeah.
Okay. Juan?
More Dirty Sanchez.
That's one.
As you can tell, our brand of humor is very lowbrow.
Yes. It's all good.
This was a fresh for me too.
Yes.
I was laughing the whole way through.
Okay. Great.
Granted, I thought it was gross too, but I was still laughing.
Right.
Yeah.
It was only one segment, but it was enough for me. Like I thought the rest of the episode was great fun. It was just a little too rough around the edges that first contest.
Maybe.
But that was the whole point of the first contest was to go as bad as you could get.
It's just like
they
the
called it
episode
out.
where McMurray was a piece of shit. I forget which one it was when he was talking about getting down and dirty about his sexual escapades.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. And yes, and I believe I gave that one a compost.
So you're consistent, if nothing else.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go on to top fives. Tan, does this make your top five?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I really do like those 5.
Yeah. It doesn't make mine either. Victor, how about you?
No, sir.
No. Matt? Stinking. You want me to read?
Yeah. What are they? I don't have the handy here in the car.
Yeah.
You don't have the top 5 list in the car there? Hold on.
No, it's
Looking
not
it
on
up
my
here.
dash.
Number 1, Lay's Heeks or Lay's Freaks. Number 2, Prostate. Number 3, Holy Sheet. Number 4, Relationships.
Okay.
And number 5, A Fuss at the Golf Course.
Oh, fuck.
If you remove any of those for this one,
I can't at the moment. I may come back to this and make a change, but I need to give this one some thought. I really loved it. I really liked it a lot.
just because you're teared up at the end doesn't mean all of a sudden.
No. It was great, man. It really was.
Now,
for the moment, no.
Ron and Miriam, you told me you guys didn't have your top 5, but you want to maybe let us know like what your favorite episode might be?
I'm not good with the titles, but
describe it to us.
The prostate one did not make it on any of yours.
Oh no, it's
that was my number 2.
No, it's on mine.
It's my number 2, Matt's number 2. I think Tanya's number 4 and Victor's number 3. Yeah, it made all our top 5s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the prostate one and the sleepover.
Sleepover.
Sleepover had one of my best MVPs.
That is a silent sleeper. Like people. There are some big fans of that episode.
You know what?
A great episode.
I changed my rating on that one because I finally get that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your rating?
I think I gave it a clearance.
Yeah.
But I would change that to fresh for sure.
Oh.
I get
I
it.
think Al and I were fresh on that one.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
fresh.
you guys
I
were.
really loved that episode.
I think I may have been a clearance or a compost.
You may have been.
I think
like,
you were a compost.
You may have had a bad week or something because that was just
a lot.
So
You
many
had big comeuppance with that one.
Yeah,
we recently had a snowfall and it was that perfect time of day. And I was driving through town and all the snowbanks were like super high. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to get home and get jammies on and just snuggle in. And I'm like, fuck, I finally get the episode.
The whole episode was just a mood. It was a perfectly set mood.
Yeah.
Juan, did you have any that you wanted to mention?
Not really.
No.
My attention span is very
Sure. Well, what are some of your favorite, who are your favorite characters? Maybe that might be easier. Like when you
the Skids.
The Skids? Really? You're a fan of the Skids?
Short and rolled are yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then the train scene where they're, when they're playing on the train and
rails on rails.
That's right.
Doing
rails on rails.
Yes.
That's for our buddy.
Or when they were on the dark web.
Plywood or whatever his name is.
Sex.
All right. We'll move on to MVP then. Tanya, do you have an MVP for
Wayne?
This? Wayne. Oh, wow.
Oh, no. I got to pick a girl, man. What am I doing? Wow. But Wayne was just, I'm sorry. Wayne, I loved him in this. Wow. I did. I know, but that was wrong. Sorry. That was my gut there. Oh my gosh. Girls.
Well, Mrs. McMurray won the contest.
She did.
I feel like the contest was specifically designed for Mrs. McMurray to
win. She does play a drunk so well, does she not? Like
amazing.
The way she slips off of the stool and like the way she has her hand out and the words and how she slurs on only she does.
There were a couple of scenes during the first round where it was the first or second round where you look at Tanis and Tanis is trying her best not to break. She's
Yes,
on the
I
brink.
noticed that.
She's on the brink.
Oh, I
By the
didn't
way,
see.
Janice, in this episode, you could see she still had her hickeys.
Her hickeys. I was gonna
It's
say
a
that
rash.
too.
It's a rash, or they're tattoos, or
I don't know. Yeah, because they're all Anyway,
Might be a skin condition.
So who?
It
doesn't have to be a girl. That goes against the whole.
Just give it back to Wayne.
Give
Like
it to
what the hell's what the hell?
I loved how he was tearing up, but I love Katie at the end too. How she was tearing up with him.
Barely said anything.
She barely said it. What she was also the hostess and kept the pageant going.
I mean, the only female. Well, I mean, all the women did great, but I think Professor Tricia probably had the most heavy lifting in the entire.
Yeah. Stop feeding her information.
I'm just trying to help her. Just trying to remind her.
Memory.
Remind her of the.
It was a hard week, dude.
Go with your gut. Like show show kind of women empowerment and give it to Wayne like you meant to.
Like you want to.
Oh my God! There's so much in this episode.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Wayne. It's easily hands down Wayne. He was the his moment was the best in the episode. Sorry, ladies. The ladies were all amazing, but his moment was the best in the episode. And I got to give kudos to Stewart. His flirting with Patricia was hilarious. So funny. It's going to make for one of the best gifts. I already saw Dean gift that moment. So it was really good. Victor?
Oh, I got to give it to the Mitt. It was the easily the best part of the whole episode was the second contest.
Unbelievable.
And that's where I laughed the most. And so you got to give it to the Mitt.
Really? All right, Matt.
I love how you just sighed.
Oh, I wrote Matt down instead of Mitt.
Gotta give it to the
I so desperately want to give it to a human fucking being that I wrote down Matt.
It gives birth to beings. The Mitt.
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, yeah, this is tough. I've been thinking about this whole time. I think I'm going to stick with the pageant. I'm going to give it to Miss McMurray for just slaying that thing. For a couple of A, she crushed the competition. B, going back to the part on McMurray's side where he's talking about why he loves her so much, and I don't know if this validates what or devalidates this. What am I trying to say here?
Invalidates.
Invalidate. Fuck. Having a moment there. Remember we had a whole conversation on whether they're just making everything up to like sell this story of who they are.
Right. But
he's talking now about he allows me to do this. They have that relationship. I know there's truth to that. They, those two are just in it to win it, and they just living their best lives. So yeah, I don't know. That made me think about it. I know it's not fully related to this, but anyways, it's Miss McMurray. She killed it.
Okay. Miriam, who's your MVP?
Well, first of all, I was going to try to guess what Victor's was. And I was thinking like it had to be inanimate. And I thought, oh, maybe it was the briefcase, because I don't know, that kind of set the tone. She's like the sexy person. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, but he picked the Mitt. I'm going to go Mrs. McMurray as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's more for the character or for the actor in terms of like, she just sold it.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, I haven't, I've seen bits and pieces of Winona Earp, so I know that she's got range. Like that's not obviously her. Like she can act sober. So her drunk act is really good. Juan, how about you?
Oh, yeah, I'm always partial to his kids. So Stuart, I love that. Flirting scene with Professor Tricia, the hands and doing the Michael Jackson thing he does.
Yeah, that was great. All right, have you had enough time now? Do you know who you're going to give it to?
I still, it's Wayne.
Okay.
It's still Wayne. It's still because he's my first. Like I just love how he. He loves his sister.
Yeah. See, there's still a Woman's Day angle there. He loves his sister. Like that's
It was a scenic a scenic route, but you got there.
All right. Let's see here. I mean, normally we would see the future, but I mean, there's nothing to look forward to other than Shoresy. And I was kind of hoping we'd get maybe a Shoresy longer trailer by now. We haven't gotten it yet. So maybe my prediction of it coming out in March is wrong, but there's still time. So hopefully fingers crossed. I can't think of if there's any Letterkenny. I don't think there's any big Letterkenny news that's come out recently.
I mean, the live shows have started.
Right. There is. There you go. You're right. Yeah. Today, right? Was today the first day or yesterday?
Yes. Yeah. Last night was the first show in Portland.
Yeah. So yeah, those have started. So
did all the Canadian shows get canceled?
Yeah.
All of them, eh?
Yeah. Well, the ones in Ontario. I don't know if there were any others. Like, I don't know if the ones out west, but yeah.
Maybe they'll tack us on at the end.
That would be nice, but I think they would have scheduled it by now. I just think they couldn't find any, maybe the actors aren't available after a certain date or something. Sure. Anyway, it's too bad because I really was looking forward to it and we didn't, we lost our tickets. But call out to our listeners who are going to go to the shows. We would love to see pictures. Please post pictures, tweet pictures, and we will retweet them. We love to see you guys there and we'll shout you out if you tweet them out. And then, so the only listener comments, we did get an iTunes review. It's 5 stars, great podcast with ruggedly handsome guests. I love that title. Basically it's our buddy Dennis. And what he did was, for his review, he posted the poem he wrote for us, or the promo he wrote for us for last week. So
I love him.
I posted that recording, but it was a little hard to hear because there was a lot of laughter and stuff going around. So I'll read it here again. The Podfather Al is your Thursday night delight with dad jokes and puns. The Portuguese dream will keep you up all night. Tanya's a skeptic whose observations are tops. She loves the D and her ad reads will make you pop. Matt's our favorite uncle who loves puppers and flipping bikes. He's a beacon of positivity who's hoping for 69 likes. And Victor the hippo loving grump wields a blue spatula with a blom. He'll give you a comeuppance and run a train on your mom. Just that. That last line.
How he got comeuppance.
So and I know aplomb, comeuppance, just every. Oh, Dennis, bravo! Holy fuck!
Brilliant.
So well done. So well done. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. So thank you. Or I guess we'll go with final thoughts. Tanya, do you have any final thoughts?
Thank you so much, Miriam and Juan. It was great to see you again today. I know we saw you last week at the A call, but we got to talk a little bit more now. And you're
going to see him 3 weeks, or Miriam at least 3 weeks in a row, because she'll be here at the ladies' night next week.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. That will be a great show. So Al, you still need to do the buttons because I don't know anything about that stuff right buttons, there. Yes. There's some pretty ones over here I could probably touch, but whatever.
Buttons aren't toys.
No, they're not.
Yeah, and happy International Women's Day to all you great ladies out there. I hope everyone was able to celebrate it, and all you men were able to celebrate your women in your life. And looking forward to more fun.
All right. I'm going to say, Miriam, Juan, thank you for finally coming on, and I hope you guys had a good time. I had fun having you guys here. It's great to see you. I mean, I see you all the time at Toronto Mike things, but it's nice for you to see you on this, and we can chat, non-Toronto Mike related stuff. So that's great.
You mean there's something else?
I know. Who knew? But thanks, guys, and I'm glad you stayed up for it. I hope it was painless for you. Victor?
Miriam and Wong, thank you so much. Next time, I promise we'll have some other element samples to show. And
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
Please don't mix anything.
Maybe we'll have some reactions next time. Also, I forgot to mention, I started watching another show with Linda, Severance. It's on Apple.
Severance?
It's really, really good.
I heard that was
really,
good.
really out there and crazy. We just finished episode 4 today, and recommended, super recommended. Way better than that Children Are Stupid show, whatever it's called.
Children ruin everything. Veronica
Yes,
caught me watching that, and she's like, "What?" She got so insulted that I was watching a show called Children Ruin Everything. She's like, "We do not," and I'm like, "Sorry, kid, you do, but don't take it
She was
personally."
literally ruining the moment at that moment.
Yeah, I know. Matt, any?
Yeah, Riley Jonesy, thanks for coming out, guys. It's so great seeing you. No, it's such a pleasure. I'm glad we were able to move this and you guys were able to spend it up. I know you're probably going to bed about 10 seconds after we close this off, but we love you for it nonetheless. Always a pleasure. This one thing we didn't really quickly mention, I know Ali brought up the Ag Hall last week was so much fucking fun.
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Like I know you may mention, but it really was a blast. I listened to the whole thing back, and I actually don't do that for a lot of our episodes. Some of them I will. That one I had to take it all in. It was, I think I described you as beautiful anarchy. It was just a hot fucking mess, and it was such a blast to listen to. Just chaos, laughter, cheers. So many people came out, and we can't thank you all enough again. I want to go back because it was such a fun night and a great way to celebrate our 100th episode. That said, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's next. I know you guys are doing a ladies' night next week, and I'm looking forward to that and listening to that. And whatever we do next will be fun, I'm sure. So thank you.
Well, I know you guys are always talking about how I don't let you in on plans. So let me tell you what I'm planning for the following week. I'm planning a live stream, which will be different from an Ag Hall where it'll be a video component. Miriam and Juan, you'll know because we'll be using the same platform that Toronto Mike used. So our viewers will be able to watch us live and comment, but there's not going to be all this talking over each other. And the reason we're doing that is because our guest for 2 weeks from now is going to be Letterkenny Memes. And she's going to come on and she's going to share some of her favorite memes. So it kind of doesn't make sense for an audio podcast. We need to do a visual podcast. So she's going to come on and we're going to have some meme fun. So that'll be that's the plan for 2 weeks from now. So you heard it here first.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that's the idea. So everyone will be able to come back and join us again, but this time you won't all be on screen. You won't all be able to interrupt us while we speak, but you will be able to chat at us and we can read your comments and stuff. So that's the plan.
Do you have a moderator though?
Do I need one? Do you think? I mean,
I usually need memes explained.
Don't worry.
No, because if you are using who I think I know who you're using.
I'm going to use Ian's platform.
Ian's,
Well, I'm hoping. I mean, he offered to let us use it, so I have to talk to him still.
Yeah, because what he's kind of deputized Dawn and I as moderators too, because people have been going in and making some really bad comments.
Oh, okay. So we'll talk. We'll talk then. Maybe we'll need you to moderate. That means we'll have to do another early night. I don't know. We'll see.
No. You can get awesome.
Oh, we can get okay. All right. We'll talk about that.
Moderator, anyways, right?
That's right. It's in her blood. Cool. Do you guys have any? So yeah, look forward to that in a couple of weeks. Next week, obviously, is the Letterkenny Ladies Night. Next week will be Friday night again, 9 p.m. Eastern again, so that Miriam can join us. So stay tuned. Yeah, Friday night. Miriam and Juan, final comments.
I know I always kind of bring it back to Toronto Mike because that's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
But like him, I think you guys have created a great community. And it's just really fun to be able to talk to people kind of from all over the world about something that we all enjoy. And I mean, you've been a recipient of the community. And that's just kind of the people that have come together, and it's just actually kind of like really nice to be part of. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, you give us all the credit, but the community is made up of everyone, and it wouldn't work if everyone wasn't really cool. And we've got a really cool bunch of people. I think our people are cooler than Toronto Mike's people, but don't tell him that.
Even Steven is
you're more international.
Yeah, we're more international. Juan, did you have anything?
No, just mirror Miriam's comments, and it's a very cool community.
Yes,
I'm not an active participant because I can't get
because you have a life. It's okay. I understand. Yeah,
I get that, dude. High five right there. Right there.
But I fill them in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, she
funny
lets me know.
stuff.
She keeps me updated.
She gives you the Coles notes whenever something important happens, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's-
just to give you an example, I get fed up when I get too many texts from my family.
Right.
From the family group.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Like
you guys are like kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. I'm going to play us off here with the song from this episode. A great song called Glory Me by an artist and or band called Frankie. It was kind of hard to find this, but here I had to Shazam the episode because once again, brand new episode, not a lot of information out there. So here we go.
Have you ever imagined what it's like to die? Come on, we all think about it. The end of our lives. It's a vision out of nowhere when you're in your fancy car in the bathroom.
That's all we have for this episode. Next week, we're going to have our first ever Letterkenny Ladies Night. That's right. Tanya's going to host and she'll have a bunch of female listeners on with her. I have no idea what they're going to talk about, but I'm sure tonight's episode will come up a few times. Don't forget to give our sponsor Diabolical Coffee some love. They are at diabolicalcoffee.com. Right now, you can use a promo code ProduceStand for 10% off any purchase from their site. If you'd like to support this podcast, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or become a patron. There is a Patreon link on the site or Twitter profile at ProduceStandPod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at ProduceStandPod. Thanks for joining us. Now we're going to tell the women in our lives how much we appreciate them. On behalf of Miriam, Juan, Victor, Matt, Tanya, and myself, have a great week.
Death's not easy, it takes work just like being born. The soul clings